Here at Imola, near Bologna, it's an historic occasion. The first time the Italian Grand Prix has been held on this 3.6-mile circuit, which is tremendously tough on brakes and transmissions. Today's race is vital to Alan Jones here, who's leading the World Championship by a mere 2 points after a season of mixed fortunes. 4 wins in 12 races and only 3 retirements, but only 3 of those wins count, for his Spanish victory was disallowed through no fault of Alan's. So Jones needs to do well today, especially against his chief rival Nelson Piquet. Now Piquet may be a Brazilian, but he's got a very British sense of humour. And in only his second full year of Grand Prix racing, he's second in the World Championship, thanks to 2 impressive wins at Long Beach and Holland, and thanks to his consistency and the reliability of his Brabham, in which he's scored points in all the 9 races he's finished. So, with 3 races to go, a very close thing for the championship between Jones and Piquet, ahead of Reutemann, Lafitte, Arnoux and Pironi, with 27 winning points still to be had from here in Italy, Canada and America. And now it's the warm-up lap and James.
The 2 interesting things to me about the grid, Murray, seem to be Giacomelli's high position on the grid. He looks like a bit of a joker in the pack to me, being in front of the 2 championship leaders. His driving has not always been courteous to other people this season, so he could be disruptive. And the other thing, of course, is the speed of Hector Rybak in the second Brabham, which must bode very well for Nelson Piquet with his Brabham, and he's looking very confident indeed when Jones has been pretty unhappy with his car during practice.
Well, I wonder if this is going to be a Renault demonstration, because they've been so overwhelmingly superior in practice. René Arnoux in pole position was a full half second, and there he is, faster than his teammate Jean-Pierre Jabouille. In the second row, there's Carlos Reutemann and Bruno Giacomelli. Row 3, Piquet and Alan Jones. Row 4, Patrese and Villeneuve, and an enormous, hysterical Italian crowd to watch them. 60 laps, 188 miles, and it's a flyer of a start, and Reutemann comes straight through in the middle and drops back. Piquet's through. Piquet's up into 3rd position, and look to the right. That's Brambilla, who's gone off the circuit in the Alfa Romeo, and Reutemann is already nearly last. So, action already on lap 1. The 2 Renaults leading as we expected. They got away well, very quick into the long, fast part approaching the Tosa hairpin circuit. And now they're on the first lap. 59 laps to go at the end of this one. Up to the rise and then down to the tremendously fast section which leads into the new chicane, the much criticised chicane, the Acqua Minerale, which the midfield men are approaching now. The restart.
Well, we see here the start again. Reutemann comes through very well from the start and then suddenly drops back. There he goes, dropping back. It looks to me like he might have cooked his clutch, letting the clutch slip, because he does seem to get going again a bit later. And if you just let it cool now, don't let that was Brambilla going around the difficult side of him on the grass, but it looked, when he gets going again, that's probably because he's cooled his clutch down and caught it in time before he damaged it permanently. And
there is that hairpin that's caused so much trouble, designed by no less a driver than Jean-Pierre Jabouille in cahoots with Villeneuve, and it's the most criticised part of this circuit, but it's not worrying the 2 Renaults. They're out in front as we expected. There go the midfield men through. So René Arnoux, there he is in the white helmet, followed by his teammate Jean-Pierre Jabouille. Arnoux, who won in the Argentine and in Brazil, and has been in pole position for the 3rd race in succession here. Jabouille behind him, then Piquet. Giacomelli is 4th. In 5th position is Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari, and he hasn't been as high in that as a Grand Prix for a long, long time. Behind Villeneuve, Hector Rybak, the Mexican, in the second of the 2 Brabhams. Alan Jones is in 7th place. Pironi is 8th. Jarier is 9th. John Watson is 10th, and we're into lap 2.
Well, the interesting thing here is in practice, we've had a situation with the big switch in championship fortunes for Jones and Piquet after the Dutch Grand Prix with Jones's mistake. Lots being said now that Jones is suffering from a bit of a bop to his confidence, and Piquet of course is riding very high with everything going well, but I see more to it than that. I see that the way Rybak's going, Rybak is actually in front of Alan Jones, and he definitely, with the best will in the world, is not a top-class Grand Prix driver. This means that the Brabham has suddenly found form as well, better form than it's had before. Meanwhile, although Jones is struggling with confidence, the driver of his class, if his car's going right, does not have problems. with confidence, and I think that the car isn't going quite as well as they would like, and I suspect that if there's any element of panic, it's more likely to be coming from his team with the setting up of the car in practice and things. But it's a very difficult time for the Williams team, having been in front for so long, and particularly with Brabham suddenly emerging with this real and genuine form that they've found, which is underlined, as I say, by Hector Rabat being so fast, more than by Piquet's driving at the moment.
Jones 7th, Piquet 3rd, so Alan Jones has got a tremendous challenge in front of him because he's got to finish in front of Nelson Piquet to keep his World Championship hopes really alive. And there is Alan Jones. You just saw a flash of the car as they're coming down towards the end of the second lap into the third of the 3 new chicanes at Imola, into lap 3. Arnoux, Renault, Jabouille, Renault, then Nelson Piquet in the Brabham, pulling away a bit from the 4th place man, and it's still Giacomelli. Villeneuve 5th, Rabat 6th, Jones 7th. There's Pironi in 8th position, then Jarier, Watson, Daly well up, and Mario Andretti well up in the Essex Lotus as well, and Jabouille going through. Jean-Pierre Jabouille on lap 3 in the Renault is now through into the lead, and Piquet is closing up on Arnoux. I wonder if this means that Arnoux, who's challenging as he goes over the crest, Arnoux tries to retake Jabouille but fails, so Jabouille is in the lead on lap 3 in this 60 lap race. And look at Nelson Piquet right up the gearbox of the Renault, and he's through at the chicane. Piquet really brakes very late indeed and gets through.
Yeah, a case of very confident driving there, Murray. We saw the mood Piquet was in, sitting on the grid. There's a couple of shots at him. He's obviously really enjoying himself, and I think he caught Arnoux napping there. I wasn't expecting it. He nipped through and took his chance. The sort of driving from a man who's driving very confidently and really in form. Excellent bit of driving, because it's very tough to get past these Renaults as usual with their power on the straights. You've got to catch them unawares and nip by and get through before you get near a straight.
And another man really psyched up. Look at Bruno Giacomelli in the Scarlet Alfa Romeo in 4th place. There he is, now right behind René Arnoux. Giacomelli, of course, in front of his own home crowd, and they're cheering him on, very anxious for an Italian to do well. And it's an Italian car in 5th position with Villeneuve, the French-Canadian, at the wheel as they go into lap 4. Jabouille leading Piquet, Arnoux 3rd, Giacomelli 4th, Villeneuve 5th. Rabat is still in 6th position ahead of Alan Jones, and there is Jones going through. Then the gap before Pironi is in 7th position. And Villeneuve coming up alongside Giacomelli. Villeneuve challenging for 4th position, going round the outside now, cuts through on the inside, and let's see as Jabouille and Piquet, yes, Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari, not so very far away from Maranello, where the Ferraris are made, of course, is up into 4th position. Piquet, that's Piquet at the hairpin, and he's right with the leader. So Nelson Piquet has already taken one of the 2 Renaults, the most dangerous, many people would think, that driven by René Arnoux. Now he's setting about the leader, Jean-Pierre Jabouille, the 37-year-old Frenchman with the Austrian victory behind him this year. So there is the lead. Jabouille goes through. Arnoux is dropping back, but Villeneuve doesn't seem to be able to do anything about Arnoux. Alan Jones is closing up. Alan Jones still in 7th place, closing up on Hector Rabat. And now Piquet is in a perfect position, I would say, to challenge as they go into the left-hander here. Now this is getting towards the end of the lap, and Piquet's going through. He's going to take Jabouille on the outside as they come through to complete the lap, and he's in the lead. Nelson Piquet leads at the end of lap 4, going into lap 5 in this 60-lap race. The man who won at Long Beach, the man who won the last Grand Prix at Holland.
Yeah, well, I don't really understand what happened there. Here we're seeing this overtaking manoeuvre again. I think Jabouille must have missed a gear or made some sort of a mistake, because a Brabham just simply doesn't out-accelerate a Renault from a low-speed corner like that. So, because he passed him on the straight there, coming out of the corner on acceleration. I don't understand that. I think it must have been some sort of mechanical mistake there by Jabouille in the cockpit. As
a quick aside, the car driven by Gilles Villeneuve in practice, and he's the 4th of these cars, was the new turbocharged Ferrari. He was going quicker in that than he is in the T5 today, but opted to drive this year's car instead of next. And Villeneuve is still in 4th position behind Arnoux. There are the first 5 men absolutely together on this 5th lap. Piquet, Jabouille, Arnoux, Villeneuve, Giacomelli, Ribac and Jones closing up, all of them pulling away from Pironi, who is in 7th place. A long way to go, and this is expected in the closing stages to be very much a race of attrition, because it's going to affect gearboxes and it's certainly going to affect brakes. And there's somebody who's been affected, the man who's affectionately known as the Monza Gorilla, Vittorio Brambilla, in his last Grand Prix, because he's retiring, and it looks as though he's doing it just about in time. Safe and secure out of his car as Piquet goes through. Now, it looks to me, James, as though Piquet is really starting to stamp his personality on the race and to draw away.
Yes, Mario, the car is obviously going very well indeed. Rabac's still right up there. He's still, in fact, leading Alan Jones, which is a quite shattering performance and a real tribute to the way Brabhams have got their car working. It would seem at the perfect time to do it, and Piquet seems to be taking full control of this race.
And you saw the positions on the caption there as the leaders go through and into another lap. There's Jody Scheckter, the reigning world champion, just going across the line, ahead of Lafitte, who's had a terrible practice and doesn't seem to be doing very well in the race either. Lap 6 out of 60. 1, 2, look at that! That is Villeneuve! Oh, a really nasty one. And the whole of the back has been torn off the Ferrari. A
really big one. He really hit that very hard. His arms are moving about. He seems to be all right. He's moving them as if to say he's okay, and he's starting to get out of the car.
And there's Giacomelli. Giacomelli rejoining the circuit, so he must have gone off at the same time as Villeneuve. Probably some sort of reflex, but anyway, Villeneuve, thank heavens, looks all right. And already on the left, the crane is getting ready as we look again.
Something must have broken on the car. We see, yes, you can see things falling off the right rear wheel. The wheel's gone skew-whiff there. It was difficult to see whether it was the tyre failure that broke the rear suspension, or whether the rear suspension broke first and broke the tyre. But certainly his rear suspension was well broken long before he hit anything. So that was definitely a car failure of some sort, either tyre or suspension on his Ferrari. And he is all right as far as we can see, for which he's a very fortunate man, because he hit that very hard sideways on.
Scheckter goes through, Lafitte goes through, Giacomelli rejoins, and you can see how strong these modern Grand Prix cars are. There's Eddie Cheever in the pits. He's had a dreadful season. That's the new Osella, but it doesn't seem to be any more reliable than the old one, as Piquet goes through to complete a lap. There's the medical team. Marvellous medical facilities they have here at Imola, unrivaled. Into lap 7, and it's Piquet leading Jabouille. Alan Jones is starting to move up. This is interesting, because as they go into lap 7, there is Arnoux, and the next man through is Alan Jones ahead of Ribac, because Giacomelli, of course, is down and Villeneuve is off.
Yeah, well, that of course is a very good break for Alan Jones, because it's with losing Giacomelli and Villeneuve then. Of course, that's given him a clear run at the Renaults. He's only got the Renaults between him and his rival for the championship at the moment, and that of course has cleaned things up a lot for him. It's giving him a clear shot.
And his rival is the fastest man on the circuit at the moment. Nelson Piquet's just put in a lap at 1:38.7. There's the confirmation of it. 113 miles an hour, and that of course is a new lap record, because Imola, as I said earlier, has got 3 chicanes in it this year that it didn't have last. So Piquet is the lap record holder. There's the gap between himself and Jabouille second, Jabouille and Arnoux third, Arnoux and Alan Jones in the white Saudia Leyland Williams car in 4th position. The leader, Nelson Piquet, the Brazilian from Brasilia, 28 years old, and this is his 32nd Grand Prix. And if he keeps this up, it will be his 3rd Grand Prix win this year, but there's still a long way to go. And although the Brabham is beautifully set up from the way it's handling, reliability in terms of brakes and transmissions is going to be a problem as they go into lap 8 in this 60-lap race. Piquet, Jabouille, Arnoux, Jones in the background. Lots of runoff. There's the car, there's Villeneuve's very badly broken motor car being dragged off.
It'll be interesting now to see, we'll try and get a clock on the gap from Jones to Piquet to see if Jones can, because he's got a clear track in front of him, if he's got the pace to to hold Piquet and in fact to do anything about him, which of course is essential to him for the championship. He's got to be able to close up and pressure him if he can.
That car that you saw on the right, and there it is again, is Giacomelli's Alfa Romeo. So Brambilla is out, Giacomelli is out, Villeneuve is out. There is only one Italian car left in the race, and that's the World Champion, and that's Rybak, Hector Rybak, saucily driving across the chicane and not losing place in the process.
I think he made one. I think he made one up, though, man. I think he made one by mistake. He took the shortcut, and I think he slipped in front of that other car.
Rallycross Hector Rybak, and there goes Jabouille in the Renault. Well over, they are reputed. And look, that is Villeneuve's car. The whole of the back of it torn off. There is the clutch. That gold round thing in the middle is the clutch. And on the other side of the circuit, the gearbox, the wheel, the tyres, it's a very badly shattered car. And this enormous crowd is undoubtedly got a lot of the enthusiasm knocked out of it, because they've only got one Italian car to root for now.
One Ferrari gearbox slightly used we had there, I think.
Lap 11 this is, with Piquet and Jabouille, and in the background Jones, look at that, that's Alan Jones catching René Arnoux. The car going round the corner first there is in third place, and it's Arnoux. Alan Jones is really charging now. He moved up to fourth place when Giacomelli and Villeneuve had their problems, and now he's right with the third place man René Arnoux. So, as they go past the remains of Villeneuve's car, Piquet and Jabouille pass then Giacomelli's car. There are several broken motor cars lying around the course, but the driver's perfectly okay, thank heavens. Jabouille. Now, what about the battle between Jones and Arnoux? Because every place that Alan Jones can gain is going to mean an increase in his World Championship chances.
Alan Jones has passed him, Murray, I think. I can't see Arnoux.
That's
yes, there is
Arnoux.
Arnoux had slowed up a bit. I think he must be in some sort of trouble. I can't see what, but maybe a bit of brake trouble, or his tyres maybe a little bit off. But he went backwards, I think, rather than Jones forwards in relation to the leaders.
And Hector Rybak in fifth place, I noticed, was right behind René Arnoux. So Rybak is not only driving extraordinarily well, but obviously Arnoux is dropping back. And that's Fittipaldi walking in, Emerson Fittipaldi, ex-double world champion. And now there's a terrific scrap. This is a scrap for fourth place. Now, in the yellow Renault, René Arnoux is in fourth place. Right behind him, Jarier is fifth. Then Mario Andretti, who hopefully has found some reliability, because he's only finished, if my memory serves me right, one Grand Prix this year, and Hector Rybak seems to be missing, because this is the battle for fourth place. Arnoux fourth, Jarier fifth in the Candy Tyrrell, and then behind him is Mario Andretti. Jarier, and it's changing all the way round the circuit. We just caught a flash of them there, as Jabouille in second place has now got Jones right with him. Alan Jones closing up all the time, and they are on lap 29 now. Piquet long gone, of course. He's got a clear circuit. He's closing up to lap people, but meantime he's got no pressure from behind him to slow him down. James?
Yeah, the gap hasn't, we've been watching the gap, it hasn't really changed very much. Piquet's been slightly extending it over Jones, but he does seem to be very much in command now. And when Jones speeds up a bit, we've had Jones breaking some lap records and setting up fastest laps, and Piquet seems quite able to respond anytime Jones puts on a spurt or does anything. So it seems that Piquet is controlling the race comfortably from the front, not going to extend his lead particularly, sitting on it, and Jones seems pretty powerless to do anything about really catching him. But of course now he's challenging for second place, which is very, very important to him, because that would give him 6 points if he can get past and then they stay like that for the finish, which keeps him well in touch with the championship, obviously. 9
points for a win, 6 for second, 4 for third. Jones is currently on the 4 points mark. If he can pass Jabouille, he will be on 6. It's very, very close in the World Championship. But it's surprising that the Williams with Alan Jones at the wheel is not further up. He didn't have a very happy practice. He blew 2 engines on the first day, had several other little problems, and is probably a bit rattled by not having the best of practices. But it's not affecting his performance against Jabouille, and he's right up alongside him, and he's through. Alan Jones up into second place. And now, I said earlier on that he was not the fastest man on the circuit. He is now, because he's just done a lap in 1 minute 36.3, which is faster than Piquet. So Alan Jones is closing up just a little bit on Nelson Piquet, but not nearly enough. He's got to go a lot quicker than this if he's to challenge for the lead. And out so far, Giacomelli, Brambilla, Villeneuve, Fittipaldi, Hector Ribach, John Watson, who was at one point up into 6th position, is now out of the race again, and he's had a poor season. John Watson 6th, but now out of the race, as there Alan Jones 2nd, Jabouille 3rd. Don't forget, ahead of them is Piquet, and there on lap 40 is Piquet. Lap 42, Piquet, perhaps the world champion designate, coming up to lap the reigning world champion, Jody Scheckter, in the Scarlet Ferrari, and he's done it. He's passed him. So Jody Scheckter, in his last race in Europe, in front of the Italian crowd who want so much to see Ferrari and Jody Scheckter do well, because he's very popular in Italy, are not going to see that. They're suffering the disgrace to Italian eyes of seeing a Ferrari lapped. That's Keke Rosberg in the Fittipaldi going through the chicane. Rosberg is in 10th position, and he's about to be lapped very shortly by the leader, Nelson Piquet, as they come out of the Acqua Minerale and go from there into the Variante Alta and down to the Rivazza bends that they're at now. That leads into the 3rd chicane. So Piquet, and that's Andretti. Mario Andretti looks as though he's out of the race. If he is, that will be the 11th time in 13 races. He was in 6th position, and the rumours of him joining Alfa Romeo may well be true. We'll soon know. Mario Andretti seemingly out of the race. Piquet passed Rosberg, so he's lapped everybody up to 9th position now. They're on lap 49, and we look at Alan Jones going behind, and that's Pironi off. So Pironi in 8th position, but he rejoins with no problems as Alan, and there's the battle for 4th position. It's Jarier in the blue Candy Tyrrell 4th. Arnoux is 5th. Behind him, Carlos Reutemann, who you remember was at one point in last position after a terrible start, has charged up to 6th position. There is Reutemann. Now, let's look again. Coming towards us, Jarier 4th. Arnoux 5th. Behind him and closing up on him, Carlos Reutemann. Reutemann, if it was clutch troubles, he's sensibly let the clutch correct itself, and you can do that, and Reutemann's going to close up on Arnoux now. Reutemann challenging, and Reutemann going through to take 5th position. Arnoux waves him through, so Arnoux knew him was there, could do nothing about it, moved over, waved him through. Reutemann up to 5th position, and now charging after Jean-Pierre Jarier with the 6th place man, René Arnoux, dropping back all the time into the Acqua Minerale. Reutemann out of it, and that Jarier spins. Jarier, who was 4th, up into 4th position goes Reutemann, up into 5th position goes René Arnoux, away goes Jean-Pierre Jarier, and he's lapped by Nelson Piquet, the leader. So Piquet has lapped everybody up to 5th position, really charging through the field. There is Piquet. And there are the positions on lap 49. Piquet, Jones, Jabouille, Carlos Reutemann, then Arnoux 5th, and Jean-Pierre Jarier in 6th position. There's Piquet, and you can see he's closing up on René Arnoux all the time. That's Piquet and Arnoux. So there he is. You can see how slowly Arnoux in 5th position is going in comparison to Piquet, as Piquet completes another lap. And we look back along the course to see the 2nd place man come through. There he is, Alan Jones. Alan Jones closing up on Elio De Angelis in the Lotus, who is in 7th place. And now Nelson Piquet leading his 3rd Grand Prix of 1980. He won around the street circuit at Long Beach. He won the last Grand Prix 2 weeks ago in Holland. So he's in for that. And that is Jabouille. Jabouille in 3rd position on lap 55, into the pits, out for the 12th time in 13 races. And things are happening all around the circuit. We hear that Jarier and Arnoux have dropped back. So Piquet leads, Jones second, up to third position goes Carlos Reutemann, to fourth goes De Angelis, to fifth goes Pironi, very closely challenged by Rosberg in sixth position. Well, real excitement in the closing stages of the Italian Grand Prix as Alan Jones goes through there, and there is Nelson Piquet leading now by some 25 seconds, leading the World Championship by a single point from Alan Jones if he keeps going. Amazing consistency and reliability, James.
Yes, well, it looks to me, Mario, as if everything's coming right for Nelson Piquet at the end of the year. He seems to be, we're starting lap 58 now, he's got 2 laps to go only with, and if all goes well, he'll go into the lead of the World Championship. Sorry, 3 laps to go now, and teach me to read properly in Italian. But he's coming good at the right time, and I do believe in fate and sort of trends, you know, the way things go, because Alan Jones, you know, he made his mistake at Zandvoort. It was only the second mistake he's made this year, really, and it's proved very, very costly because they seem to be down now. The team seems to be down. Things are going badly for him, and this isn't all driver confidence. Jones is a better driver than that. And Piquet, on the other hand, you know, as I've said several times already, Rabat has shown the form of the car. Piquet's car is suddenly going really well for him. Reliability has been there. He's been steadily accumulating points, and now suddenly he started winning races at just the right time. And if he does it, he will have done one of the rare feats of winning the championship at his first really serious attempt this year. He was number 2. It was his first season last year. This is his first proper attempt. Jackie Stewart did that. Not many people have done that sort of thing. He's a very, very mature driver. He's a young guy. He's got terrific brain power. He's fast and he's very competitive. But of course, we've still got a couple of races to go after this. I'm assuming that he and Jones are going to finish in the order that they're running at the moment. It's really up to the Williams team to turn things around, to steady themselves down, get their car right, and see if they can reverse the trend. The car has proved to be generally this season a better car than the Brabham. So, as I say, Williams have basically got to get that situation back right, and then, of course, it'll be up to the fates and who doesn't make a mistake.
That is Carlos Reutemann that we've just been looking at, who's in third position. René Arnoux there, dropping back all the time. We are on lap 59 in this 60-lap Italian Grand Prix, held for the first time at Imola, near Rimini and Bologna. And I think we will probably be seeing the Italian Grand Prix alternate between Monza and Imola henceforth, because the people at Imola have put in a terrific effort to make this a really good circuit. They've spent over £2 million on it since last year, and it really shows. Lap 59 then, Nelson Piquet. You can see he's stroking it home. He's not using the full width of the circuit on the corners. He is, of course, getting pit signals all the way round from probably Alistair Caldwell, telling him exactly what his position is. He's some 25 seconds now ahead of Alan Jones, and only the cruelest stroke of fate could rob him of his third Grand Prix victory this year. Coming down to the end of the 59th lap, into the third chicane, into the right-hander, accelerate away up to the Tamburello, which is a very fast, sweeping left-hander, fifth gear, and the Renaults just beyond this point in practice were doing 190 miles an hour. Absolutely incredible. And Piquet was doing about 187. So Piquet on his way now up into the Tosa bend, up through the gearbox, third. Now he's approaching the highest point of the course, the Piratella, before he plunges down at some 180 miles an hour, down for the 60th and last time to the new chicane, the Acqua Minerale, the right, left, right, and out of it. And he's got rather less than half a lap to go now as he goes down to the Variante Alte. No, he's into the Acqua Minerale. I was ahead of him. There is Arnoux. Arnoux is going to be lapped by Piquet, I think, although Piquet may feather it and not risk trying to pass somebody in this vital stage of the race, right in the closing stages of the Italian Grand Prix. Arnoux ahead of him, the turbocharged Renault, the Ford-powered Brabham, 3-litre normal aspiration, where of course the Renault is turbocharged. And now into the Rivazza, and a great puff of smoke from the back of René Arnoux' car, and I think Piquet probably is going to try and take him. He's probably into a rhythm and he won't want to slow down. He's through. So, Brabham laps Renault. Just 2 corners to go now. This one and the last right-hander. Then Nelson Piquet will see the checkered flag for the 3rd time, first this year. Nelson Piquet wins the Italian Grand Prix for the first time at Imola. Now we wait for the 2nd place man to come home, Alan Jones, and then there is De Angelis finishing, Rosberg finishing. Here is Alan Jones, and it's tremendously exciting for the World Championship. Jones coming through now. He, like Piquet, has just got 2 corners. There's the first, there's the second. Alan Jones in the points, well and truly again. Piquet wins, Jones second, and at the end of the Italian Grand Prix, it's Carlos Reutemann 3rd, Elio De Angelis 4th, Keke Rosberg 5th, and Didier Pironi up into 6th position. And that affects the World Championship, of course, because as they come home and Piquet goes on his lap, 1 point ahead, Nelson Piquet now, Carlos Reutemann some way behind in 3rd, then Lafitte, Arnoux and Pironi. That's the World Championship with 2 races to go. Well, from the point of view of the World Championship, it could hardly have been a better Italian Grand Prix. The 2 leaders finished 1st and 2nd, the championship order was reversed and the gap's just 1 point. So now, as the championship moves out of Europe and across the Atlantic, the Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time promises to be a cliffhanger. Only an hour after it finishes, Grand Prix will be on the air, and we hope you'll be